Yep.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Drew University's 155th Commencement. The procession will begin shortly. Please find your seats and silence all phones and mobile devices. Please remain in your seats during the procession and the entirety of the ceremony, even while taking photographs. Thank you and enjoy.
Good afternoon. I'm Tanya Lynn Bennett, University Chaplain and Associate Dean in the Theological School. As we gather here to celebrate this Commencement 2023, the commencing of this next journey, I invite us to gather our hearts and minds in a centering moment. We come here together on the brink of this new beginning, standing, teetering on the edge of great possibility and promise. We come with all we are and all that we've been made to be, pieced together by a spirit of great imagination and love, each of us a critical piece of the universe puzzle. Come, Great Spirit, be with us here. Cast aside any shutters of doubt that we might not find our place, the place where our great joy meets the world's great need. Swing wide the portals to the expanses of our vision. Remind us that we are well loved by those around us and by what we call holy. Inspire us to look in and out at where we've been and where we might go. Let us know that we do not ever travel alone, but always in the hearts of those who came before, who stand with us now, and those we have yet to know, but will encounter as we take our next brave steps. The world needs us, our wisdom, our compassion, our desire for justice, our joy for life. Let us not be afraid, but go forward in courage, bold to step out, bold to speak out. We come together here on the brink of this new beginning, the edge of great possibility and promise, and we give thanks. You may be seated.
Welcome, and thank you for attending today's ceremony. I'm Thomas Schwartz, President of Drew University, and it is my honor to be here. First, I want to recognize the graduating students. Would you please rise? Somehow my phone, which is on Do Not Disturb, was disturbing. Second, I would like the families and guests of the graduates to stand and be recognized, because we all know the graduates would not be here today without your support. And by no means last, would the faculty and staff who guided our students now stand. Thank you. I would like to congratulate and applaud all of you for your perseverance, your ability to adapt to challenges, and to overcome adversity. Those experiences will stand you in good stead, whatever life's challenges may be. With your degrees, you are among the most highly educated in the world. I congratulate you. But, and this is a big but, with it comes enormous responsibilities. You are graduating at what is obviously a difficult time in the United States and in the world. Perhaps you cannot directly influence the issues of polarization in politics or, of course, war and peace. But you can indirectly influence those issues. Use your education to lead others to find common ground, to find good in those with whom you disagree, and of course, to be active citizens, whether here or abroad, to get involved and not simply to observe or follow. As is said at Drew, to add to the world's good by responding to the urgent challenges of our time with rigorous, independent, and imaginative thought. And one other personal note. More than 60 years ago, I was a freshman in college. Some of my friends are no longer with us, but I have tried to maintain friendships with many, and many with whom I was not close in college have become friends later in life. But, and this is another big but, you have to work at it. Don't assume those friendships that you made here and elsewhere just last. They don't, unless you work at it. Call, text, Snapchat, whatever that is, even write. But do it or time will interfere, and those friendships will pass into your history. So thank you, congratulations, and now it is my honor to welcome our faculty speaker for today's commencement, Drew Affiliate Professor of English and Arts and Letters Program, faculty member, and 2001 graduate of the Caspersen School of Graduate Studies, Dr. Liana Peeler.
Good afternoon, President Schwartz, Dean Hinrichs, my fellow Caspersen School of Graduate Studies faculty, the graduates from all our Caspersen programs, members of our Drew community, and supportive family members and friends of all our beloved graduates. Thank you for gathering together on this very special day to celebrate your accomplishments, efforts achieved over months and years of coursework, creative thought, studies in the medical humanities, internships, collaborative projects, and curriculum, MA theses, and in-depth interdisciplinary doctoral dissertation, research, writing, and scholarship. Can we all just take a collective breath? And then another, to fully absorb coming to a ritualized culmination this day on the behalf of all our degree candidates, their faculty guides and mentors, and their supportive loved ones. A truly creative soul, David Bowie once said, "I never thought I'd need so many people," a thought that must resonate with us all today. This moment is one to raise up and to attempt to imprint on your memory in whatever way possible so that you can revive it in times to come. It's my honor to be present with you in real life, as we commonly say now, and to be part of the renewal of our collective experiences at Drew as we continue to emerge from our pandemic-informed realities over the last several years. I speak to you today from a crossroads of Drew experiences, a place I call my home, at multiple levels, as an alum of our own Caspersen School's former PhD program, as having taught in all three areas of our university, a trinity, CLA, Theo grad, as well as consulting work at the University Writing Center, and as feeling so akin to the aims of our arts and letters community, my home base, as both scholar and visual artist. I will not be the first to say that this pandemic experience has profoundly reshaped our individual interior lives and our shared social experiences, both of which are instrumental to our reasons for being here today as fellow participants in a commitment to education and the humanities. Many of the papers, projects, curricular development, student teaching, classroom discussions, and scholarly works we celebrate today took root before or during extremely challenging times. It took courage, fortitude, endurance, resurgence after loss, sincere faith, and trust to usher them from dream to reality. It is just this kind of strength and creativity that we need to look to again going forward, within our community, and for those of you becoming alums of our University of the Forest today. I wish to suggest that this kind of vision and investment in the humanities will be exactly what we and our world need in the days and years ahead. We continue to need it as our collective attention becomes fragmented at times, and our antidotes seek deeper contemplation, the ability to listen attentively to look more observantly, and to strive for more expressive and expansive communication. My mind continues to recall the directive of Dr. Robert Reedy, English faculty member and emeritus Caspersen School Dean, to do the humanities. It is what we do in our current endeavors, and what I encourage you, our graduates, to continue to aspire to as you go forth with all the work initiated at Drew. Directing thoughts to our graduates. You likely feel poised at a point of transition, yet another risk. An attempt at discovery as you contemplate what will follow after your Drew experiences. As a scholar, educator, writer, and artist, I would like to offer you some thoughts gleaned from my own creative experiences and my process, and what I teach in my classes, with the hope that these envisionings provide you with a framework for all that may evolve in times to come. You already have the talent, curiosity, and desire for discovery within you to make this happen. Two of my core courses allow me the privilege of working with students from the Arts and Letters and Medical Humanities programs. The Joy of Scholarly Writing, the initiation of the dissertation process, and all credit goes to the beloved Dean James Payne for the title and original concept, and the Watercolorist Craft, a course as much about new ways of seeing the world and recognizing one's perspective as learning about this seemingly simple yet devilishly challenging medium. In both, my students move from moments of absolute trepidation to gradual awareness to true eureka moments, breakthroughs exemplified in various ways, a leap that leads to the trust that the simple elements of water, pigment, and brush can produce. Wasn't it artist Jasper Johns who advised, take an image, do something to it, do something else to it? Equate that trust and leap to a profound question, once elusive, that can solidify and offer a new way of looking at a hypothesis, an issue that demands our attention and can redirect scholarly thought. As painters, we direct our viewers to see neglected subjects, to recognize beauty in the ordinary. As scholars, we remind our communities of voices that need to be heard, advocated for, and questions that need to be redirected to address our times and concerns. These thoughts take time and evolution. I'd like to propose a parallel track to this kind of project, this envisioning that you can consider moving forward. A movement from sketch to image to reality or resolution. An artist who inspired me with her writings, acrylic painter Nancy Rayner, suggests that there are 3 cycles to painting: freedom, faith, healing. I've raised this premise in several of my graduate and theological writing classes, and we've even debated the wording, so feel free to equate the thoughts to your own expression. Essentially, you need to experience freedom in your beginnings, the space, imagination, innovation that allows your minds and projects to take flight and soar. Don't limit yourself. Move about this space luxuriously. See what happens. Play, and take note of what speaks to you. Remain excited. Be aware of your passions. As writer Jane Smiley remarked, everything can be inspiring if you are curious about it. How true. I can recall a moment in one of my watercolor classes this fall term when a student spied, via a window in our Brothers College classroom, a hawk landing on an adjacent rooftop peak. That real but almost spiritual visitation amidst our class time and her own presentation on painter Andrew Wyeth became the inspiration for her own powerful painting after she took the time to look, observe, and attend the moment. After such freedom, refinement needs to follow: selection, choice, definition, reflection. This intermediate stage is the long haul of every creative and intellectual process. It's where the faith enters in, the endurance to continue, to acknowledge the ebbs and flows of the project, to commit and trust with attention, guidance, and careful tending. It will come to fruition. I am trusting my own spring semester cohort of students who attested to their own journeys from fear to commitment in writing workshops, and I know they will be our graduates to come. Many spoke, too, of the support they gathered from each other, new ways of seeing and asking questions about topics, both familiar and new to each other, their willingness to navigate the challenges scholarly work demands, amidst especially the unexpectedness of life and unsettled rhythms we must all balance. The last stage comprises the minimal but most compressed time, resolution and completion. It may likely require a step away to allow distance to clarify the whole, for the pieces to come together as a unified composition, the healing, as Rayner suggests, offered to the artist, an image I extend to you. For it is that resolution, contribution, even healing in whatever form it takes that we all seek. In both my writing and visual arts-oriented classes, I advise that you need to take a step away from what you think is completed work. You need a little distance, whether shaped by time or space, to reflect on what you've created, to sense your relationship with your audience, to assess your completion, and to allow the greater conversation, whether with viewer, reader, or scholar, to continue, and even to expand beyond what you initially imagined. How else can you know all the profound ways this journey has changed you as well? Your learning has involved all these stages, a trusted expansion of mind and self while taking risks, a recognition and confidence in your voice, scholarship, and contribution to your fields, a sense of resolution in these final works that you will now lead into your respective areas to add to the larger conversations in such need of new voices and visions. In a few weeks, I will begin teaching a new Arts and Letters summer course entitled Mindful and Expressive Responses to the Natural World, and I'm looking forward to every new discussion I will have with Caspersen and theological school students about these intersections of literature, art, and spiritual reflection. One of our considered poets will be Mary Oliver, who so directly, succinctly, and profoundly advised, pay attention. Be astonished. Tell about it. What more can I advise? Take what you've learned and experienced during your years in the forest. Continue to pay attention to whatever is key to your vision. Never lose your sense of wonder and awe, and find every possible way to share it with others. Commit yourself to tell the story through narrative, image, studies, your teaching, the freely expanded vision you've gained here at Drew. Let it all evolve, resolve, and bring healing when it can, in whatever form, and put your stamp on this world in a way all your own. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Peeler. I'm very pleased to now welcome our student speaker for today's commencement, Claudia Savickas, a Master of Arts in Secondary Education and Teaching candidate. Congratulations, Claudia.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be speaking here today. I have to admit, when Dr. Turner suggested that I apply to speak at graduation, I was confused. Surely I was not the right person for this job. I came to Drew just shy of 12 months ago as only one of 2 graduate students who had not completed our undergraduate studies here in that program. Everyone else in the MAT, and a lot of students in the MED program as well, had spent the last 4+ years of their lives together. Additionally, as I'm sure is the case for many of the other programs, we've all been so cocooned in our own classrooms and areas of study that we've hardly had time to see one another this year. So how could I, the new kid, knowing only a sliver of our graduating class, be the one to wrap up our time here and discuss our experiences in retrospect. This is where our graduate education, and for my fellow MAT cohort members, our newfound mindset as educators comes into play. You see, for the past year, I've not only been studying here at Drew, I've been student teaching at Morristown High School. And one skill that my cooperating teachers and I have spent the last 8 months developing with our students is literary analysis, although surely not at the same level as our arts and letters colleagues, who will have to forgive the simplicity of this next portion. At the high school level, literary analysis means looking at a writer's craft moves. And a favorite craft move of my high school students is word choice. Why, for example, has a writer chosen to use a particular word and phrase versus another? Why choose the word commencement for a celebration of graduation? Why is this called a commencement speech? History and culture students might be able to give us a lesson here on the roots of the commencement address from medieval times, but I'll ask them to refrain from doing so and pose the question back to all of us. If we were in my high school English language arts classroom, this would be the part where I use what I've learned about effective pedagogy and have you all turn and talk with a neighbor about possible answers to this question. As you discuss, I would walk around and see what you and your partner were thinking, and would maybe notice one of you was feeling very uncertain about what you'd shared, especially if you're from the data analytics or finance programs and despise English language arts on principle. If you were this uncomfortable student, I'd encourage you, as I've done countless times in my own classroom with my own students, trust yourself and speak up. You have a great thought here. Don't be afraid to share it with others. Then we would share out our responses as a group, and hopefully you, shy or even disgruntled student, would be willing to speak up. But I only have a few minutes. You are not my sophomores and juniors, and I am not about to get down off this platform. So in the interest of time, here's what I've come up with. To commence means to begin, not to end. If I needed to talk about where we've been, this would be a conclusion speech. But it's not. It's a commencement speech. I need to talk not about what's ending, but what's beginning. And this puts me at the unique advantage of knowing, more recently than some, where we're going. Because starting tomorrow, we are all starting over. We will all be the new kid in class, even if this means going back to the same job, this time as doctor instead of miss. Just as when I came to Drew as a graduate student, we are the new kid in class. Everything will be, whether just slightly or drastically, different than it's been for the last 1 or 2 or 5+ years. As we enter our new roles, we may feel, as I felt in preparation for today, as we all felt either last May or whenever we first set foot on Drew's campus, that we might be the wrong person for this job. We're entering a group that is already formed, that we are on the outside, that this has all been a terrible mistake. It may be tempting at that point to retreat into our shells, but our Drew education has prepared us to be better advocates than that. We will all find, as we've found before, that there are good people on the inside, that they are looking to welcome us into the fold. We've all experienced this, I'm sure, with our professors here, who are always looking to support and believe in us. We've experienced this with the friends, mentors, and family members who have bolstered our spirits on our hardest days. And we've experienced this with our classmates, who remind us that we matter and that we do belong, that our ideas are worth sharing, and that we have what it takes. So let's keep in mind that feeling fear, trepidation, even a sense of outsidership is normal at the beginning. So feel that, process it, then discard it. As the old adage goes, if you're scared, do it scared. As we begin anew, commencing this next chapter, I'll tell you what I tell myself and my friends and my students. Trust yourself and speak up. You have great thoughts. Don't be afraid to share them with others. Thank you so much. Let's go get started.
It's now my distinct pleasure to announce the Thomas Keene Scholar Mentor of the Year Award. Students wrote that this faculty member is one of the greatest professors I've ever had as an educator, academic thinker, and person. Is a treasure within our Caspersen School, and extremely knowledgeable, as well as respectful and caring. This faculty member is the definition of a mentor who cares for his students in and outside of the classroom. Another student commented, this faculty member's class, quote, the reflective journal questions and prompts for presentations allow space for creativity and discovery as I further formulated my vision of what justice as a teacher looks like. His pro-seminar in educational theory and practice course engages teacher leaders to think deeply about the educational system and their role in it. Through his library at Pro-Seminaria project, he seeks to create partnerships between graduate students and alumni, fostering a beautiful mentorship and assistantship primed with opportunity to directly impact students. Thomas Smock's course positively shifted my trajectory within the Master of Education program. It is my pleasure to announce this year's recipient of the Thomas Keene Scholar Mentor of the Year Award, Professor Thomas Smock, affiliated faculty of teacher education and a graduate of our Caspersen program. Thomas.
Good afternoon. My name is Jessica Lakin. I am the University Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, and it is my extraordinarily good pleasure to begin the conferral of degrees and the awarding of diplomas. Before we do that, I would like to share a reminder that the complete list of special honors and accomplishments is available in the commemorative program, which is available by request, although Dean Hinrichs will be reviewing some of them shortly. And graduates, I will ask you to please remain seated until you are invited to rise and to come to the platform. Once you've received your diploma, you will return to your seats. I call upon the Dean of the Caspersen School of Graduate Studies, Dr. Ryan Hinrichs, to present the candidates.
Thank you, Provost Lakin. Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Hinrichs, Dean of the Caspersen School of Graduate Studies. Before I present the candidates, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge recipients of this year's Student Awards. As I announce each award recipient, I ask that you rise at your seat to be recognized. The Reamer Prize for Outstanding Doctoral Dissertation or Master's Thesis relevant to the work of Neil Reamer, focusing on American political theory, goes to Kason Henry. Congratulations. The Dean Payne Prize, which is awarded to the best interdisciplinary doctoral dissertation that is singularly distinguished by creative thought and prose style, goes to Sharon Williams. The Mary Pennywitt Lester Prize, which is awarded to a doctoral dissertation awarded distinction, goes to Passy Rosen Bayowitz. The Dean's Medical Humanities Dissertation Prize, awarded to a medical and health humanities dissertation that is singularly distinguished by creative thought and prose style, goes to Roxana Delbene. The Dean's Master of Arts in Teaching Prize, which is awarded to the graduating student who has excelled in all facets of the MAT program, including coursework, field experiences, and student teaching, goes to Kafita Gordon. The Dean's Master of Science in Data Analytics Prize, which is awarded to the graduating student with the most distinguished academic record, goes to Lisa Stites. The Dean's Master of Science in Finance Prize, which is awarded to the graduating student with the most distinguished academic record, goes to Kevin Lagerquist. Congratulations, each of you. It is now my pleasure to present you the degree candidates from the class of 2023 for the Caspersen School of Graduate Studies. Now, the candidates for the degrees: Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Letters, Doctor of Medical Humanities, Master of Arts in Teaching, Master of Education, Master of Letters, and Master of Science will please rise as called by the marshals. President Schwartz, I ask that you grant them these degrees with the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto attached, and to which they are rightfully entitled.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by authority of the Board of Trustees of Drew University, I confer upon you the degrees Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Letters, Doctor of Medical Humanities, Master of Arts in Teaching, Master of Education, Master of Letters, and Master of Science for the class 2023. Congratulations.
I now invite Dr. Jonathan Rose, Director of the History and Culture Program, to join us on the platform. And I invite the History and Culture candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy to join us on the platform.
Doctor of Letters is supposed to be.
Oh, but we do have one history and culture. So you're doing it.
No worries, I'm here. I'm reading everything.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, I guess? I don't know this word.
Oh, I have no idea.
Caspersen Henry. Caspersen Henry's dissertation has a provocative title, and specifically, it might provoke you to ask, what is this all about? Well, Caspersen scholarship is on a cutting edge, a very new academic field that might be called the literary history of politics. It poses a very big question. How are political actors shaped by their reading? As Caspersen documents, Barack Obama always was a voracious reader who devoured both African American literature and the great books as defined by Mortimer Adler. Moreover, he saw no conflict between these two literary traditions, both of which helped him, as a mixed-race individual, navigate thorny questions of racial identity. His committee, Jonathan Rose, John Lentz, and William Cross, awarded this dissertation a mark of distinction. And beyond that, because Caspersen perceptively address questions that were also addressed by Neil Reamer, a much beloved political science professor here at Drew. He was also awarded the Neil Reamer Dissertation Prize.
I now invite Dr. Leslie Sprout, Director of the Arts and Letters Program, to join us on the platform. And I also invite dissertation advisors Liana Peeler, William Rogers, and Jonathan Reeder to also join us on the platform. We may now call the Arts and Letters candidates for the degrees Doctor of Letters and Master of Letters to join us on the platform.
Everybody.
Anne Ingrid Abrams. Anne's dissertation is titled Stitching the Wounds, a Literary Response to Trauma. The primary goal of Anne's creative dissertation was to build a bridge between trauma and its literary expression. To this end, Anne used memoir, poetry, visual art, and a work of fiction to both show and explain trauma. What sets her work apart is its perspective. Her work is coming from the trenches. She wrote it while navigating and experiencing her personal recovery from the many facets of her own struggle. It is a distinctly postmodern work that includes personal essays, art, poetry, and a novel, as each of these genres provides very different means for the expression of feelings and carry different weights of emotional impact. Sharon Yale Fagan. In her creative dissertation, To the Warehouse, Sharon invokes the spirit of Virginia Woolf as she explores through a series of essays her lived experiences and reflections on giving, service, and consumer culture. Analyzing the dynamics of giving in these life writings, Sharon's observations, recollections, and insights are sharp, tinged with her distinctive sarcastic humor and humane sensitivity as she navigates her place and search for fulfillment and relevance as a woman at various stages of life and in connection to society. Congratulations, Sharon, from Dr. Peeler and Dr. Winters on this body of work and for all your creative contributions to the Arts and Letters program. Christina Kenny. Lessons in Literary Activism, Works of Influence in Postmodern Women's Literature, 1960 to 1979. The purpose of Christina's interdisciplinary study is to evaluate 16 postmodern American literary works produced between 1960 through 1979. These works consist of various genres and were written by women of different racial and ethnic backgrounds. An analysis of the chosen works determines the ways in which they influence the women's movement by bringing to light the female experience. Feminist theories proposed by Ellen Sixou and Naomi Shaman served as the theoretical framework for this and are applied in the analysis of these literary works. In addition, this study explores the interconnectedness of these writers and their works, as well as the methods they employed to successfully connect with their audiences and initiate socio-political challenges. The results of this study contextualize the way these literary works influence the movement for the liberation of women, and in turn, how the movement influenced these writers. Daniel Thomas Jennings. Irish impact on the American Revolution and its role in Irish acceptance in the United States. Dan has produced a fine piece of scholarship on the contributions of leading Irish figures made to the American cause in the Revolution. Included in his study are men such as Daniel Morgan and John Barry, figures well known to scholars of the Revolutionary period and not unknown to the general public. Beyond writing a worthy study of these men, Dan came to the brave conclusion after studying the not as well-known Edward Hand that maybe he should have focused his attention on the less famous but more important Irish actors in the Revolution, the common soldiers and sailors that made up approximately 35% of Washington's Continental Army. This is not an easy admission, and one that takes nothing away from Dan's strong scholarly work on this project, and points the way to further important research. Yet even more admirable is that Dan was able to finish despite numerous active service deployments in the Air Force, and the heartbreak of losing his beloved wife of 33 years, Jill, this past October. There is no doubt Jill is smiling down on Dan today as he achieves this major life accomplishment. Congratulations, Dr. Jennings. Angelina Brown. The Price of Admission, Survivor Guilt and Cultural Mismatch in First-Generation College Students. The path that some students travel on their way to a Doctor of Arts and Letters degree is more arduous than others. Angelina Brown, a working mother and first-generation college graduate, began her journey in 2018, and now, 5 years later, finds herself moments away from achieving a lifelong ambition, the right to be called Dr. Angelina Brown. How proud you and your family must be. How proud your advisors, Ron Felber and Karen Pachillas, are of you today. Congratulations, Dr. Brown. It's wonderful to see your hard work come to fruition. Rebecca Rivera Robayo. Cuéntame, tell me their story. Rebecca's creative dissertation presents a collection of poetry, memoirs, and essays of cross-generational Hispanics and Latinas, highlighting their voices, memories, and experiences. The first 3 chapters showcase the lives and struggles of 3 generations of Puerto Rican women on Rebecca's maternal ancestral line. Beginning in Morovis, Puerto Rico, then migrating to New York City's Loisaida, and ending in upstate New York, she journeys through over 80 years of family history and recollections in search of recreating the worlds of her ancestors to help her understand her present and future identities. Sharon Kimberly Williams. Breath, Voice, Fire, a collection of creative nonfiction essays. This is the day that Sharon Kimberly Williams traverses the august threshold leading from student to Doctor of Arts and Letters. Her advisor, Ron Felber, remembers her meeting her in May 2020 as a soft-spoken, thoughtful student, one that everyone in the class knew had something important to say about societal norms, theology, and the lives we live each day. Perhaps the giveaway was the Nina Simone quote she put below her signature on emails. An artist's duty is to reflect the times. Well, whatever intuition Ron and the other students had back in May 2020 proved more than correct, as witnessed in Breath, Voice, Fire, Sharon's creative dissertation, comprised of 3 inspired essays in poetry and prose. Sharon Williams' dissertation was selected as the best interdisciplinary doctoral dissertation in the Caspersen School by being awarded the Dean Payne Prize. Congratulations, Sharon. Welcome to the other side of that august threshold. Richard George Roselle. Just or Unjust, the Global War on Terror. Dr. Rogers writes that he is pleased to recognize Rich for his intriguing study of just war theory as it applies to the global war on terror. Rich succinctly and cogently examines the history and philosophy behind just war theory, and then expertly applies that theory to America's global war on terror arising out of the September 11th, 2001 attacks by al-Qaeda. In a study that is rigorous, informative, and insightful, Rich makes a compelling case that while the war in Afghanistan and the related actions in sub-Saharan Africa and the Philippines can be considered just under prevailing just war theory, the evidence is overwhelming that the war in Iraq was not just and should never have been pursued. This study is a meaningful addition to the scholarship on just war theory and its modern applications. After a long career in law enforcement in New Jersey, a few years ago, Rich moved to Florida to become the chief in a police department. Only very recently, Rich has finally fully retired, so this event is doubly special for him. Congratulations, Dr. Roselle. Wayne Bruce Miller. Eugenics and Immigration Restriction in the Progressive Era. Wayne's dissertation examined how the eugenics movement contributed significantly to the resolute defense by WASP cultural, economic, and political elites of their caste privileges against the threat posed by waves of immigration from Eastern and Southern Europe and Russia during the Progressive Era. Reflecting his sophisticated understanding of the contradictory cultural trends within progressivism, Wayne blended subtle historical analysis with the incisive deployment of sociological theory, in particular resource mobilization theory, to reveal how the leaders of the eugenics movement used a potent strategy to sound the alarm among the nativist American public and their elected leaders that the invasion of hordes of immigrants must be stopped before they degraded the gene pool through miscegenation. Wayne's dissertation brims with interesting research questions, for it affords scholars promising points of departure for investigating how the leaders of social movements effectively use ideology, power, and organization to mobilize the biases of their followers in the pursuit of larger political goals. Carolyn Woodland Bulwer. Laughing It Up and Lion in the Unpublished Plays and Skits of Zora Neale Hurston. Carolyn's study examined the representation of humor in Zora Neale Hurston's unpublished plays and skits, which were discovered in 1997 in the archives of the Library of Congress. Her goal was twofold. First, to seek and examine how humor is represented in Hurston's unpublished plays and skits, and second, to determine the similarity or dissimilarity between the humor in her unpublished works and in her fiction by examining the humor in two of Hurston's novels. What Carolyn found was that Hurston used her plays and skits as a platform to present her people to the world with authenticity and to disrupt the ideology associated with Blackness to a non-human status of thing to humanness. Master of Letters, Thomas F. Campion.
I now invite Dr. Meryl Vissay, Director of the Medical and Health Humanities Program, and Dissertation Advisor Liana Peeler to join us on the platform. And I ask that the candidates from the Medical and Health Humanities Program for Doctor of Medical Humanities and Master of Arts to join us on the platform.
Roxana A. Delbene, reportability and credibility in narratives of contested illness, a textual analysis. Through her dissertation and research, analyzing the reportability and credibility in narratives of contested illness, Roxana Delbene is an advocate for patients living with these undiagnosed or debated conditions. In this comprehensive study, Roxana examines 22 published memoirs in which patients use writing as a way of documenting and attempting to understand their unfamiliar and often fantastical symptoms, especially when their experiences are called into doubt by the medical community for various reasons. Combining her scholarly background in linguistics with a medical humanities framework, Roxana closely observes specific narrative devices, perspectives, and language choices in these memoirs, the very places where patients' unacknowledged sufferings are revealed. Looking also to the humanities as a lens, Roxana seeks insightful parallels within the literature of magical realism, a place where seeming fictions are made real. Liana Peeler shares her congratulations for her dissertation, which earned distinction with many colleagues across our programs, Dr. Laura Winters, Dr. Meryl Vissay, Dr. Kate Ott, and Dr. Richard Morehouse, all of us who supported this work of brilliant scholarship and advocacy. Because Roxana's dissertation was singularly distinguished by creative thought and prose style, she is this year's recipient of the Dean's Medical Humanities Dissertation Prize. Mary Walsh Roche. Context, coping, and connection. Older adults in the COVID-19 pandemic. Mary Roche has been a committed Drew graduate student who enjoys a strong grasp of the medical and health humanities program. She continues to look through the lens of our program and its mission to enrich her professional teaching and training abilities. We first remember when Mary enrolled in an Introduction to Medical Humanities class. Characteristic of Mary, she would travel 1 and 1.5 hours in her first semester to attend winter classes, despite heavy snow and ice. Her performance, even at that early time, was dedicated, impeccable, impassioned, and relative to completion of her degree. Mary's vast responsibility and devotion to her present profession as an educator in occupational therapy led her to the dissertation exploration of the COVID-19 pandemic and the impact on community connections, abilities, and preferences. Mary's meaningful evaluation has examined quality of living conditions, daily activities, and feelings of self-esteem among participants of her project during the pandemic. She has succeeded, we believe, in a narrative statement of individual transparency and honesty among these same participants. Her published dissertation hopefully represent an agency for present and future research. That potential will serve toward better ethics of care in a world of unexpected change and challenge. Congratulations.
I now invite Dr. Kristen Turner, Director of Teacher Education, to join us on the platform, along with the education candidates for the degrees Master of Arts in Teaching and Master of Education.
Claudia M. Savickas. Kavita Gordon. Kavita Gordon is this year's recipient of the Dean's Master of Arts in Teaching Prize, which is awarded to the graduating student who has excelled in all facets of the MAT program, including coursework, field experiences, and student teaching. Holly Marie Stefanik. Ama Awusoa Asante. Jamie Glatzman Linton. David Garcia. Grace Elizabeth Labasio. Candace Renee Foltini. Kristen and Bruno Bates. Mary Elizabeth Coors. Eloisa Liberty Henrietta Gatanibi. Justine Marie Martinez. Heather M. Moscott Nash.
I now invite Professor Stephen Firestone, Director of the Finance Program, to join us on the platform, and I invite the finance candidates for the degree Master of Science to join us on the platform.
Meliki Insadia. Caitlin Nicole Velez. Mohammed J. Monisi. Max Emilio Drucker. Kevin Lagerquist. Kevin Lagerquist is this year's recipient of the Dean's Master of Science in Finance Prize, which is awarded to the graduating student with the most distinguished academic record. Thank you.
I now invite Dr. Ellie Small, Assistant Professor of Data Analytics and Director of the program, to join us on the platform. And I invite the Data Analytics candidates for the degree Master of Science to join us on the platform.
Patrick John Ott DeVries. Joel Mincott. Joshua Lodge Roberts. Daniel Craig Blumenthal. Lisa Renee Stites. Lisa Stites is this year's recipient of the Dean's Master of Science in Data Analytics Prize, which is awarded to the graduating student with the most distinguished academic record. Caroline Natanya Mull. Tanner Jordan Houston. Xiaopeng Zhu. That's it. Praise God. Good group.
Congratulations to all of our graduates and family and friends who have joined us here today. You are prepared to give not just with the knowledge you have learned here at Drew, but with a commitment to your community, a desire to engage in lifelong learning, and a goal of making the world a better place. As you go forward, I encourage you to follow our university motto, freely you have received, freely give. I want to thank everyone for joining us today at this commencement ceremony. Will the guests and graduates remain seated until the platform party has recessed? The graduates will then be directed off the back of Meade Lawn, where we can enjoy light refreshments over on the patio of the Shakespeare Theater. I now invite you to stand for the benediction offered by the Dean of the Drew Theological School, Dean Edwin Aponte, followed by our alma mater performed by the Drew University Choir.
As we leave this commencement, embrace the words of encouragement that this indeed is a new beginning. When the speeches and the applause are over, may you celebrate and lift up all those around you, especially family, friends, and dear ones who made this journey with you. With classes and grading now complete, thank God, continue to strive toward excellence in all that you do, so that your achievements grow and cause holistic growth in every community that you encounter. May you find bliss in your future endeavors and adventures. May you build upon your Drew education to work for justice and peace in the world, discovering joy and holiness in the midst of life's blessings as well as life's challenges. And finally, may the great source of knowledge, wisdom, and love empower and guide all of us as we go forth on the paths of peace from this day onward. Amen.